now we can figure out, okay, how do we want to move forward with this, and have the right conversations respectfully, and move people on as we need to. But so when you were saying that, it really resonated with me as I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
And it's really fun when you can actually. I always love using. I use the hockey analogy more often than not, but because we're in Texas,
of course,
I'm going to use baseball today.
Of course,
but I really love that because it comes home to people where you can actually see it. Because in Canada, hockey's a very big passionate thing, right?
Of course.
Baseball here, football here.
I'm a baseball
in
guy.
Canada too.
Yeah, right.
But it's one of those things where if you can actually put it into terms of, you see your professional teams do this. They build their team based on skill sets in a role, personalities, function. Why aren't you doing that for your restaurant?
That's right.
And then they kind of go, oh yeah, right. I need my people to actually function in these roles.
Exactly.
You've got coaches that are going to train your people, so that's your managers. And me as a coach, I'm going to train your managers.
Of course.
But they're going to lead those people into being able to actually do those jobs properly and have the roles set for them. Understand every step of the day that they're supposed to do and follow up and be accountable for it. And then it's about, okay, you've got the basics of it. How do you have fun doing it? Because this has got to be a fun industry. You have to be in. You have to enjoy it.
Have to.
Because if you're Betty and you go to the table, what do you want?
Exactly.
I got a smoke on the go.
Exactly.
It's not going to help your business. So
totally
if you build your team that way, to me, that's just been a big thing of really getting that particular point hit home.
So I feel like I need to apologize to you. So first I need to say we're at North Italia restaurant tonight in Austin, Texas, and I love North. It's one of my favorites. But I realized for the last 20 minutes I've been eating your Zika chips. So I've got a plate over here of my own. So
that's okay.
So my apologies.
I'm used to it. So the other thing that happens in the industry is that you put your food down and everybody picks at it.
100%. 100%.
I'm all good with it.
So
I'm just surprised the server hasn't come over and helped her tell me.
That's right.
Because that's normally what happens when I eat in a restaurant, mostly with my clients.
I love it.
I'm just going to come over and try something. Go ahead.
So we know what you're doing. We know where you are. So how did you get going again? Like, how did you get started? Like, what was that moment for you?
I guess, I wanted to be a leader from a very young age. When I was 13, I started my first job at a golf course.
Wow.
And by the end of the first summer, we went into the next season and they didn't have a manager. And they came to me at 14 years old and said, hey, we want to manage the back shop kids. There's 8 of them. You got to do scheduling. You've got to order supplies in. You've got to make sure the private golf course guests are happy and they are wealthy. Sure. It was kind of cool as a kid. I'd finish work and I'd be walking home and I'd get a Ferrari would pull up and say, hey, you need a ride home? I'm like, yeah, cool. And I knew them. I knew who they were, and I just, helped them with their golf clubs, and I caddied for them, whatever. So it was a really cool job to start, but I started off being a leader right then and there. In the restaurant industry, going into university, at the end of high school, I became a cook. Thankfully, skipped the dish pit. Although as I got later on in the years as a chef, after the rush, you'd love to just go in and spray the plates as your zen moment, instead of that zen sand garden. You're just spraying dishes and you're letting your mind escape. But I really got into the consulting part of things. I'd been in small businesses. I'd watched concepts grow, and I had helped foster the roots of small restaurants to see them succeed, and that was wonderful. And I was a manager, and the business got sold, and that was that.
Right.
I didn't see that success out of it as well. I worked hard for it, but I really enjoyed that process. And I started more and more as I got older, and more people knew me, and I had a small specialty food company as well, so I was on television and doing national things. I won national awards for it.
That's awesome.
But it was a great little company, and I really got more people calling me and saying, this is happening in my restaurant, or hey, I got to ask you advice. And, so we go out and we'd have a coffee, and I'd sit and I'd find myself every other week having a coffee with somebody talking about their restaurant. And I started realizing that this was something that I, needed to do.
And that you were good at, and that you had a natural predisposition towards, right?
Yeah, I think so. It just sort of came to me that I really liked being that go-to guy.
Right.
And I think that's where my leadership came in, or wanting to be that guy. Was like, I wanted to be the go-to guy. There's a problem, you go see him.
I love it.
And that, like, even in the restaurant, it was sort of like, if there's a problem, just come and see me. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Problems at tables I loved it. Hell, there's something wrong, eh? Perfect. Let's talk about that. And you just, the way I did it, people would be wowed at how I diffused the situation.
Right.
So I started talking to more and more owners of small restaurants, and that was good. I think I could help them out, and I thought I could do great things for them, and that's where it really developed into doing it. And then the rebate program started to come on board, because I looked at it and that whole concept of wanting to be somewhat like a head office for a small business, where I could get you the information you need. If you're a small chain restaurant, we're talking. So I'm partnered now with Restaurant 365.
Right.
I'm the Canadian partner, because I'm the only one so far. Their first foray into Canada. This amazing.
That's
technology.
exciting. That's exciting.
It's amazing. I love it. I've looked at these programs. I mean, I've used Optimum Control and the inventory software systems. They're big and they're robust. For about the same price, you can do all of your accounting and get your numbers and actually start to understand them. And so I put my monthly service as part of that in Canada. Just note that now. But so those are the kind of things where I started bringing on these packages, because I realized that those were areas where a lot of small businesses were in trouble.
Yep.
I went into one client, and they were $20,000 in accounts receivable to one supplier. This is a small operation. Like, they were doing $25,000 a week.
Oh boy.
Not bad. I mean, that's a good living. But why weren't they paying the bills? They just, the manager wasn't processing them properly, or the checks weren't written. Well, yeah, I know the checks weren't written.
I can tell that.
You're
25,000 in the hole. Yeah.
I'm surprised they're bringing you food. I mean, wow. You're going to end up going to the grocery store with a lot of bags.
Right.
And trying to pick up what you need for the night. But, so, those are the kind of things where I like to bring those tools out now.
Yep.
There's a whole bag of tricks for, I've been in the business 30 years. So you start out, and I started out with a lot of clients just saying, okay, I've got a whole package of Excel sheets that I'm going to bring out for you. You need to understand how to run your numbers.
Right.
And this is really important. You don't understand your numbers, you don't understand your business.
That's right.
So now I've got these tool sets that I can bring out and say, here is, if you just do this, I can give you all kinds of savings just off your budget,
right,
off your expenditures, but make sure everything's done.
That's right.
And then if I can get you a rebate program, I can start saving you money, and it's going to just come back to you in your pocket. So all of these little things just started coming out of that, that sort of moment where I realized that I really liked helping small restaurants. And the big chains are great. I mean, they've got a lot of brains. There's a lot of great people thinking of how to operate their businesses. And I don't think that's my domain. I'd like to go in and talk to those people about certain seminar topics.
Yep.
Because I love public speaking. That's
nice.
If I can go in and talk about the power of please and thank you, and spend an hour with your managers and just really get the idea that the experience of the guest is the most important thing, and the easiest way to do that is to say please and thank you.
Absolutely.
It's very simple. And then you can translate that back down into your enthusiastic staff that you've hired because you want to have the best baseball team out there.
Right. Right.
The best floor team you can, the best kitchen team you can.
Yep.
If you can equate that to the same things and have that translate down and say, okay, well, we've got this enthusiastic team. You know what I really want you to focus on? How often do you say thank you? Simple. Yep. Simple thing. Please, thank you, you're welcome, may I. Really, really simple. we all drill it into everybody's head. Behind, sharp, corner.
Of course.
Hot. but
But that,
thank you.
But that one, we don't.
How has that escaped us?
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's kind of a funny, and it goes back to being an old miser, the old guy. Why can't you kids say please and thank you? but it's so true. Just that basic courtesy now of trying to bring that back. So I love doing those things for the big companies.
Right.
I love talking about that, being involved in those kind of seminars, those kind of panels and public speaking.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when you think about your journey and you think about the things that you've done, and from the very beginning of your career to right now, what are the challenges that you had to overcome? What are the hurdles that you faced early on, or even mid-career that you had to overcome? And how did you do it?
I think as a young guy, when I was younger, it was really trying to find my roots of what I was doing. So I started in the kitchens, and I worked really hard. I worked a lot of hours. I worked back then for very little money, comparatively.
Right.
I mean, wages today, some people argue they're making the same I did then, but I really learned my way through the kitchen operations and was able to run kitchens on my own and develop concepts and develop menus and cost and do all of those great things. One of the challenges I faced early was actually being able to transition out to the front of house, because that's where the money was, and the pretty girls. I'm not gonna lie. But that was one of those things where I wanted to face that challenge as well, because I enjoyed it. I studied some improv acting at one point while I was cooking as a vent. It was my Sunday afternoon. I'd go in and have this improv class where I'd create characters about the chef that I was working for, or the people I worked with, and have fun with it, just because I needed that mental thing.
Yep.
But that was a challenge. It was getting people to believe in me that I could do that. And actually, very quickly after I did that, I was actually the fine dining room. I was the lead server in a fine dining restaurant in downtown Toronto. Very high end, celebrities all the time, and I got to sit and chat with Mick Jagger and Ronnie Woods, but it was like
that's amazing.
They're like, "Hey, man, sit down for a minute. Let's just chill and relax." I'm like, okay.
That's amazing.
So you have those kind of fun stories where you can have that personality. But I believed in the brand. I believed in the food. I knew the chef was incredible. We had an incredible wine list, and it was all about the service and execution. So I was constantly coaching the rest of the team, and that eventually elevated me up to sort of be the lead supervisor, lead server, and then they eventually promoted me to a manager, which I don't know why I took that pay cut, but as we all do. And then, those are the other challenges. Then you get promoted up from being a server in an independent fine dining restaurant, and there really wasn't a lot of training. At that point, it was very much, you know how to do this. You're a server. You're our best that we've got. Go.
That's definitely a hurdle to overcome. Definitely.
Now, I wasn't a Betty.
Right.
But I didn't have any management training at that point. I'd been a manager. I'd run, as I said, I started off as a young guy managing a small group of kids. I'd been in management situations before that, but to be put in charge of a high-end restaurant and just kind of go, that was a big challenge for me. So I found myself studying on my off hours, and of course having the server nightmares or manager nightmares. I woke up one night in the middle of the night. I'll never forget this. This is 28 years ago. No, sorry, 25 years ago, somewhere in there. I'd forgotten to give a guest a glass of water. And I bolted straight out of bed at 3 in the morning, in an absolute panic, putting my pants back on, saying, "Oh my God, I forgot to bring them a glass of water." My wife's like, "No, like they're in bed. Like, okay, you made a mistake.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go.
Right.
What are you doing?"
Right.
But that's that was the passion I had for what I was doing. So what I looked at that point in my career, I was doing okay with it. I wasn't making as much money as I was serving. We made a fortune, and I kind of let my kitchen side wane a bit. I was cooking at home and doing those
Yep.
kind of things. So